I was about to record this video, and I could hear somebody talking, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't really want to record a video if somebody's gonna be like right next to me talking. One, because like background noise, but two, because they're gonna hear me, because they're gonna hear me talking to myself. And it's really interesting too. I find when I talk in these YouTube videos, it's different from how I try to talk in my Instagram videos, because I try to have like a fluid, like I was about to say flow and fluid at the same time. I'm probably just tired and going to be slurring my words. But it's just some funny thing that happened. But I was going to make this video earlier today. I actually didn't even finish my point. He was going to do something similar, I guess, because he was like, oh shit, somebody's here. We kind of like startled him. We kind of startled him. That works. We are collective consciousness. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking to myself. People come from nowhere, don't they? I was like, they truly do. But I was going to make this video earlier today because I've been thinking about divinity, life. Like, we all see what's happening in the world. And there's a prayer in Catholicism that I heard. And like, for context, I just take in all religious aspects, all things about life and like my position in it. And I'm constantly trying to think about it and rectify it or understand it, trying to do something with whatever I take into my body, because everything is here to serve some purpose to me. That purpose can be good to me, it can be damaging to me. Like, I know I talk about love, life, all of that, but then you'll see me in public doing self-harm in the forms of like smoking and drinking, and just being a little bit foolish at times. But that's also life. Years ago, my papa sent me this video from a Japanese doctor, and the doctor was talking about how life's too short to live in perfect accordance with care, I guess. Like, it's basically saying enjoy your life, have your vices, do what you're gonna do. And I think about moderation when I think about that. But the doctor said, you're better off going into your grave, chocolate bar and wine in hand, while set on fire. So live your life. You never know when it's going to end. Take in the experiences and move on from it. But in terms of religion, which it does tie into that too, because we have these principles on how we should be in like Christ consciousness or higher states of being, being connected to God and everything. But I was thinking about divinity and how we can have hell on earth. And there's a prayer in Catholicism about how, I can't even remember what it is, to be done on earth as it is in heaven is the best way I can think about it right now. But the plane of existence that we live on right now can be heaven, it can be hell. It's all of it. I don't really have a conceptualization of heaven or hell, because it's just what I'm told to believe that it is. But everything that I hear about it, I've seen here on earth as well. It's a state of mind. And I remember reading Krishnamurti, and Krishnamurti really gave me a new perspective on religion and ideology and this like visualization altogether. Because he was making this point about how when you have this notion of being rewarded in the afterlife, it corrupts what you do right now. I'm not trying to live in the hopes that I'll be rewarded after I die. I'm just trying to live as best as I can right now, which is really hard to do. I remember there's a whole thing about it in The Good Place, which I don't know if all of that falls into like the fucking deplorable nature of entertainment. There's another thing to talk about too. The price of entertainment is proving to not be fucking worth it, unless it's some like indie shit. Where the people are just messy individuals, not like cult worshippers and baby eaters. Because that statement there proves that we are making hell on earth just through our actions and our conceptualization of what could be. But yeah, in terms of divinity, is the tiger going to go to hell for eating the deer? And am I going to go to hell for doing what I do? If I'm being told that I can seek God's forgiveness, then what is the actual point in stressing and worrying about it? Because I think we see that when you do stuff that we are worried about doing because we think it will put us into a hellish state, we already end up in hell. then like we can become deluded. We can convince ourselves that no, this is heaven, this is the greatest state I can experience right now. But it ultimately eats away at you, eats away at your soul, and diminishes it for every other being on this planet. And like that goes for the personal. I know there's changes I can make that would be more benevolent, for the collective. But no matter what we do right now, the fucking industrial military complexes of the world are doing more than we can do given the time we have on Earth. Like, there is everything that's happening in Iran. The fucking oil refineries getting hit and literally polluting everything, killing, murdering. Just, I don't even know how to conceptualize it. I'm here sitting next to the water underneath some like nice trees, trying to live my life. I think we truly do need revolution because the people in power have proven to us and willingly showed us that they don't care about us. And it's been happening for time immemorial, and people don't care unless it affects them. Like, so much of this is only happening because it's happening on home turf. People were always concerned about it, not to negate that. But so many people are just being awoken to it because it's close to home. Which, it shouldn't be that way, but if that's what it takes you to wake up, then sure, in some like detached form, I hope it allows you to see past the illusions and you can make the changes that need to be made. And I preach nonviolence, and I am a pretty nonviolent person. I try to live very peacefully and give people the space they need to be themselves and like challenge them as they need challenging, or giving them the avenues to question more why they feel the way they feel. And I do that for me, I do that for other people. I think when we understand ourselves, we can live in more unity. But that's all relative and individualized. That is probably too much for me to really get into. Or if I think about it hard enough, I can try to create some explanations as to why the world is what it is. And we, even saying that, I can see why the world is how it is. People are inherently selfish and ignorant, and we breathe that into ourselves and have had that literally rewrite our genetic code. My friend told me about epigenetics a while back, and I've been hearing more and more about it, especially in terms of like how slavery is in the epigenetics of black people. And that's in me too. Like, I'm mixed. That I'm not even sure how I can conceptualize that. But when I feel rage, I feel wrath. I understand that is the pain of my ancestors and everything that they went through. And then it's really curious being white passing in the present world, because I hear some shit that I probably wouldn't hear if I was a bit darker, if I was different looking. And I'm reading this book that my friend gave me, The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. This. And it's talking about how, like, a lot of the characters are androgynous in it, but there's a specific quote that I really enjoyed when I was reading it today. I got a little, like, sidetracked. It's starting to rain. I'm a little bit cold. I'm trying to articulate myself properly, but bear with me. Though I had nearly been 2 years on winter, I was still far from being able to see the people of the planet through their own eyes. I tried to, but my efforts took the form of self-consciously seeing a Gethian, first as a man, then as a woman, forcing him into those categories so irrelevant to his nature and so essential to my own. Was it in fact perhaps the soft, supple femininity that I disliked and distrusted in him? For it was impossible to think of him as a woman, that dark, ironic, powerful presence near me in the fireless darkness. And yet, whenever I thought of him as a man, I felt a sense of falseness, of imposture, in him, or in my own attitude towards him. And that's just talking about, like, your perception. I think about the term diaspora so much, and it's helped me in recognizing myself as a mixed person, because you go through the world looking white, people are going to treat you as if you're white. And that is a clusterfuck of experiences. which I guess I'm trying to articulate now and give my aspect of the diaspora in being mixed. My ancestors are predominantly Irish and African, to more extent to that Nigerian and African American, more so African American because, man, that's a fucking messy topic to begin with. I'm no expert in it. I think a lot of the time, through what I understand and my experience in it, to be of a ethnicity, creed, race, whatever words you want to use, because that's another messy, touchy subject that I think we're all trying to land on labels because it allows us to make sense of the world. I forgot my original point. I forgot like where I was flowing from. But it's really fucking strange being alive. I think we, to bring it back into universal concepts, are just trying to make sense. And with Krishnamurti in mind again, it is this clusterfuck of experiences. Like, all of this really is surreal. Like, the fact that my particles take this form is normalized, but it's completely abnormal. I don't know anything about the fucking universe. I know that space exists, I know that things exist, but I'm also just told that they exist. I have no baseline of actually believing in it. I only believe in it because it allows me to maintain a sense of sanity in the insanity. So when I say that this is real, I can trust myself that it is real. These baseline concepts of physics in the back of my mind allow me to manipulate and move through the world. Because all of it can just disintegrate at any fucking moment. I've taken in so much information, so many different perspectives, that like I've had to suspend my belief and disbelief because anything can be true at any given moment. I think the most potent moments in my life have been the surreal aspects of it. Like, how the fuck did that happen? How did I survive that? How did everything line up for that to be? Which becomes this bigger notion of faith, this question of destiny. And I hope that everything I'm saying is like giving you food for thought, allowing you to understand different perspectives on life, because that's ultimately how we all learn. And I think I was talking to my friend about this. I was talking about how I don't really have a whole lot of like white guilt because of my ancestry, but I recognize the privilege upon which I have been birthed into, and that privilege is all made up, just manifested by hate and malice. I'm talking about like white privilege and male privilege. I used to be in a relationship with somebody who was mixed. I'm not going to get into like specifics, but they were visibly a minority. And we're getting new glasses because mine were ripped off my face while driving down the highway because my head was out of the sunroof. And we're in there, and there's another person of color in front of us, a woman of color in front of us, to be more exact. And the man, who was a white man, came to me first, even though the woman was in there before me and was getting help before I was. But we were both kind of standing there. He just saw and came to me first. And me and my girlfriend were like, what the fuck is this? And in my mind, I'm tired, I'm blind, I'm like, I'm just gonna let this happen, I'm gonna take this. But that is fucking ignorant. I haven't had many experiences like that since then, because I've had this experience. I don't need to go and recreate that shit. And like, that's me being completely aware of it. I've seen it happen that way. I really try to question like where my gaze is brought to before. I'm getting sidetracked, but I apologize to the woman, and we went about our day, which I think is just like a human experience too. I wonder how many of you have had similar experiences, or if you can add your thoughts on the subject too. But that is just an aspect of being human. It's fucking chaotic out here. I don't know what any of us are doing. To be entirely honest, because it's all so fucking surreal. We're born into these notions of who we are, and even before we're born, we already have labels put onto us in terms of like gender, name, and who we can be in the world. Especially in terms of like epigenetics, because what my ancestors did warped their genetic makeup and has been reformed into who I am now. That's like predisposition to certain ways of thinking or certain dogmas, binaries, biases, whatever words we can use to describe it. Because words in and of themselves too are just a mess. Because everything I'm saying is going to elicit some emotional response in you based off of your lived experiences. And it gets, like, identity is a very interesting thing. We seek these hierarchies of survival, and we tell ourselves what we need in order to survive and have that told to us in what we do and how we lead our lives, because with a hierarchy we can understand what is for us and what is not for us. But that is so fucking arbitrary. The first thing I learned when I was taking courses in anthropology was that everything is symbolic and symbols are devoid of meaning until we put meaning into it. I am nothing. I am fucking particles, dust. Like, even with that, I'm subscribing some sort of meaning to it to describe the meaninglessness of it. Which reminds me of Tao, and how the term Tao isn't actually Tao itself. It's just the tools we have to describe the nameless. But I am a empty husk. I am a void of being, and everything around me is that too, which is also a projection from my own mind. This is my own personal experience of living life. I don't know if you heard the ducks quack, but every single time I'm talking and I'm speaking my truth, I hear something in the background that just affirms it. Sometimes it can be a car. I remember I said some shit and it sounded like something exploded in the background. And to me, that's an aspect of divinity, confirming what I'm saying is true. So everything is a projection, but you have to be able to trust your projections, as I said earlier, to maintain your saneness in the insanity. But I am completely devoid of meaning, and we put meaning onto the world in order to survive. But those meanings are completely meaningless, and it's just a way that I've chosen to relate to the things around me, to differentiate myself from the larger world I coexist in. But with the talk around dust, I'm going to die. I'm going to turn into just fucking particles. I'm going to be worm food. I'm going to be something in the earth. But then new life will sprout from it. I've definitely eaten dead people in the fruits and vegetables that I eat. A fucking muskrat died in the forest and regrew as a mint plant, and I ate that mint. That is just a transfer of energy given new form, which is interesting, and I have to understand more of it, because people talk about the Akashic records, these past lives, the myriad of timelines that all coexist alongside each other on the same plane. And that's just really interesting to think about. I think I'm constantly expanding upon everything that I just talked about, because like I said at the very beginning, I'm just trying to get some better understanding of how I move through the world. And it's kind of surprising that I haven't even talked about love yet. Because love is everything. Love is all we ever have, and love is not a fluid, easy process. Love will get you killed. Love will have you feeling the most rage you have ever felt in your life, and it'll have you being the most happy you've ever been in your life. It's the constant dance between those states that create the point of being and the point of living. But the world is merciless. It's going to spit you out, look at you, chew you right back up, and spit you back out again. And in terms of that, and reincarnation, heaven, hell, birth, death, whatever, it's interesting how we lose our memories in that. But what I was saying earlier, when I'm feeling rage, I can recognize it as my ancestors' rage or being angry on behalf of them. That is memory living on. It's just me finding ways to access it and interpret it. Because at the end of the day, I believe that what I feel is the truth. Whatever I see around me and whatever arises in my mind, especially just at a glance, is the truth, or the way that my mind operates, just point blank. And that's really interesting, because you can use it to watch your triggers, you can use it to watch your biases, to see where you need more growth or need to delve into specific matters of the mind. Because sometimes it's yeah, I believe that entirely, and that is true to me. But at times it's where is that coming from? Who is talking in my head right now? Because a lot of what we hold too is not ours to hold. It's just given to us, and we don't question it. We try to trust the world because we were all kids once upon a time. And kids are wondrous beings. They don't operate upon logic. They just operate upon what brings them joy and what they can do to experience life to the fullest. They're taking in so much new information. They're not conditioned by the world yet, that everything still has a sense of wonder. As adults, we get so jaded and tired of living because there's a lot to take in. But the continuous process of living is an absolute blessing, and people take that for granted. People use it to destroy so much because of everything that I just said, all these labels, dogma, and opinions on how people should be and how the world needs to be in order to serve me. And that's not always like wild chaos. That's also very intentional. People can see how they can manipulate you and get what they want in order to have a more secure life that serves them. But when you are serving something, you're ultimately serving the collective as well. No matter what I do, I am influencing the larger world around me. How I treat people, they are going to take that. They're going to be like, oh, that dude was an asshole. We'll be like, oh, that man opened up a lot of room for me to talk. And hopefully they can bring that to other people. And I think to wrap it up, I like the image of a watering hole. Because at a watering hole, you have the predators, you have the herbivores, you have all of life coming back to the water in order to keep sustaining their own lives. Because every single thing on this planet, whether you like it or not, needs water to live. And that shit is commodified and deplorable. The best way to think about it is that people are not selling you water, they're selling you plastic. People have taken your right to sustain your own life and sustain those close to you in order to sustain them and sustain those close to them. But there's so much fucking ego and like fuck you-ness in it that does not need to be there. And that's why we do need revolution, because we only have so much water left on the planet. People are going to fucking die. Like, with everything I'm saying, is all very base when put against the fact that the earth is uber polluted. To go back to Iran and like the military industrial complex, that shit is going to reach everybody on the planet in some sort of way. Like, there are microplastics in the clouds travel over the oceans. What you're doing where you are is going to affect me over here. What I'm doing here is going to affect you. And to be a bit conspiratorial, or just seeing the fucking truth because we understand that the governments do not care about us, in my mind, it's all going according to plan. People are extremely fucking ignorant and stupid, to put it basely. But it's also intentional. We are having our ways of being stripped away from us because the world is moving towards this thing where it doesn't need people. It just needs to create this higher class of being. I'm getting the image of that Love, Death, and Robots episode where there are these elites who live high above society, but then like they're also down in the slums, and there's little people going out there who are like, well, we need to control the population, so I'm going to kill your kids. And then using the youth of children to keep them living forever. That's extremely dark, but that's also based on reality. Holy fuck. I hope me laughing throughout this isn't like triggering. I'm laughing as a coping mechanism because it's fucking insane. And like I said earlier, I am completely devoid of any meaning, which is a privileged thing too, because how am I supposed to tell a parent that like, oh, you're gonna die, who cares about your kids? Because like you're pouring your life and blood into this thing you love. That makes me think about, what do I love? What do I want to give myself up for? Because it's better for that to continue being rather than myself. I'm not saying that all parents do that. Like, holy shit, man, parents are fucked. But that's because humanity's fucked. Our society's created our parents. Our parents are products of society. If that all makes sense. That's a whole lot, and just a lot of random thoughts all sprinkled together. Maybe in the future I'll try scripting stuff, but I do like this flow of my own mind, because if I'm talking about interconnectedness, I think everything that I just said kind of flows around and with itself. But your life is what you make it, and your life is not lived only for you. That's my major takeaway. And you have a limited amount of time to discover that, understand it. What happens after, I do not know, but it's going to continue on whether I'm here or not. Everything on this planet has died. Everything on this planet will continue to live. The notion of anthropocentrism has us really negating and ignoring that fact because we think that the human experience is the pinnacle of living. And I hear that replicated in capitalism, but also through religious texts. Like at my Tao studies, I kind of find it hard when they're saying that animals are a lower state of being when compared to the human experience. My phone died, so I didn't get to finish the thought I wanted to make or the point I wanted to elaborate upon and explore. But in terms of religion, and I was looking at Tao, is that it puts the human experience above the animal experience, but that is negating the fact that humans are animals and we all have the same level, to me, same level of emotional intelligence. And just because I feel what I feel doesn't mean that I feel more than something else. It just means that I'm given a different form. I think we ought to live all these different lives in order to experience everything and reach back to our source understanding. And that comes in the form of reincarnation in my mind. Which even now, like, my mind's going with more thoughts, but I just slept for an hour and gotta go to work in a couple hours, so I gotta do my shit. Man, work. What a fucking shit show it is right now trying to work in this world. But humans are not separate from animals. We are not smarter than animals. We just think that we are, and we are programmed to think that way. That's really it. I think with everything I'm ever trying to experience, it's about having reverence for it all and moving between the states of being attached, being not being. It's a ebb and flow process, and I'm grateful to be able to experience all of it, which is fucked.